Decide to have your coffee, and the other one of you can sit down. Okay, again, I will speak in Spanish. Por favor, les pido que tomen asiento. Thank you very much. Thank you, mister, for sitting down. I love how you are going outside. Thank you. Thank you for deciding if to stay in or go outside. Thank you, Honorable Robin, for being with us today. And it's time to start. Thank you very much, everyone. So this is a special moment. And because it's very special, I would like you, if you haven't had your coffee, you can go outside. And if not, okay. Thank you so much. So, as was mentioned before, now all of us, we are going to witness the signing agreement between the government of Dominica and Kenesjay. Okay, so I invited, or did I say it wrong again? Espérate, wait. Kenesjay, sorry. Okay, I'm going to invite Raquel Moses to join here. She will introduce all this signing. Thank you very much, everyone.
Hello, good afternoon, and thank you so much for your attention. I am deeply honored to be chairing this the signing of this framework agreement between the government of Dominica and Kenesjay Green Limited. This framework agreement represents, and I'm so glad that this is coming after the last panel, because the last panel talked a lot about possibilities, opportunities, and what we're looking forward to versus what we're trying to avoid. And at the end of the day, the opportunity for the region is absolutely massive. And it isn't so much about what it is that we want to avoid with climate action or climate change, but more about what is, if we had the opportunity to invest in sectors that have since exploded on the global scene, what would we have invested in? Well, this is an opportunity to get in as a region at the ground floor of an industry that is about to explode. Today, when they were talking on the panel, they mentioned this study that took place talking about Trinidad and what the green hydrogen possibilities are. And in that conversation, there are over 300 major projects that have been announced. And so we really need to think about, where do we want to be now? Where do we want to be in 5 years? And where we want to be in 10 years? And the reason that I'm so honored to be chairing this signing of this framework agreement is that the future will belong to the bold. The bold like Philip Julian, the bold like Michael Saverin, and those of us who dare to think about the possibilities and the opportunities that are possible for this region. So I will first invite Honorable Francine Barron, the CEO of CREED, to come provide us with a bit of context on this agreement. Francine.
Thank you. Thank you, Raquel. And just to let the people in the room know that we are being joined virtually by representatives from Dominica. And I just want to acknowledge them, the Honorable Dr. Irvin McIntyre, who is the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Attorney General Levi Peter, Mr. Fred John, who's the CEO of the Dominica Geothermal Development Company, and Mr. Michael Savre, who is the GCF National Focal Point for Dominica and with the Ministry of Economic Planning. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today in this brief ceremony to mark an important milestone in Dominica's thrust towards developing a more resilient economy and creating a pathway for its green industrialization. The government of Dominica is committed to economic diversification and inclusive growth through the leveraging of the country's natural resources in sustainable ways. Dominica has established an enabling policy environment, and the government has taken active steps towards its green industrialization. This includes the signing of a cooperation agreement with UNOPS to manage a GCF-funded feasibility analysis for a green industrial eco-park in the north of the island. This has laid the basis for the engagement of Kenesjay Green Limited from Trinidad and Tobago to support the development of a framework for green hydrogen industrialization. This engagement was symbolically formalized in November 2021 at COP26, when our Climate Resilience Execution Agency for Dominica, CREED, entered into a memorandum of understanding with Kenesjay Green Limited for the completion of a green hydrogen country assessment. The MOU facilitated the exploration of the various green hydrogen opportunities available to Dominica and the various financing mechanisms available to realize those opportunities. It provided for the consideration of the attendant possibility of exporting excess geothermal generated renewable energy power to neighboring Caribbean islands, a development which would catalyze regional grid integration and drive further low carbon development toward a net zero region. The regional and international green hydrogen demand is expected to increase exponentially by 2030 to an estimated 90 gigawatts. This would be accompanied by a decline in green hydrogen production cost, which can become competitive with gray hydrogen as early as 2030, based on the continued decreasing cost of renewable energy and electrolyzer cost, technology innovation to improve performance and efficiency, and gleaned learning from the large-scale deployment of electrolyzers. This increasing demand and reduced production cost, coupled with hydrogen's versatility for use in new applications, would secure a vibrant, sustainable future green hydrogen market. Dominica has the transformative opportunity to become a green hydrogen producer by tapping into our renewable energy potential and exporting to countries with a high demand for green hydrogen. In essence, Dominica can serve as an industrial center for renewable power generation, hydrogen production, and even further along the value chain into the petrochemical sectors, including ammonia, methanol, and e-fuels. The concept of a green industrial eco-park has been globally accepted as an attractive, sustainable industrial development pathway. A green industrial eco-park that integrates green hydrogen as part of the development framework can contribute significantly to the future sustainable development of our country. Such benefits would extend from direct foreign investment to job creation, improvement in infrastructure, and the opportunity for foreign exchange earnings through the sale of commodities. The framework agreement to be signed today proposes to develop a project in one of Dominica's 6 geothermal zones. The northern geothermal zone near Portsmouth would see the construction of a geothermal plant with 200 to 250 megawatt capacity, with scoping for up to 400 megawatts. It would involve the construction of a hydrogen production facility, which could produce 27 to 30,000 tons of hydrogen per year and 240 to 250,000 tons of oxygen per year, with the potential for development of an ammonia production facility producing 150 to 160 tons of ammonia per year. Given that this is only for one geothermal zone, it underscores the national potential for green industrialization. To realize the opportunity in this and other geothermal zones throughout the island, the government is undertaking swift and urgent action to ensure that the country realizes the objective of green hydrogen industrialization within a 5-year period. The implementation of this will be characterized by enhanced environmental and social governance considerations, embracing key concepts of industrial ecology and circular economy, minimizing environmental impact, efficient resource utilization, and improving participation of the citizenry in its economic development program. It would include the development of a cluster of new technical skills, capacity development for existing institutions, and improved policies, laws, and structures to support good governance and enforcement. This, ladies and gentlemen, provides the context for the signing ceremony here today. We are pleased for your presence at what is an important moment for Dominica, Trinidad and Tobago, and the wider region. We look forward to your support in enhancing regional economic cooperation and transformation. Thank you.
Wonderful. I now invite Philip Julian, the CEO of Kenesjay Green Limited, to provide the information on the regional integration opportunities.
Good afternoon, everyone. My speech was 10 minutes, but it's probably down to 30 seconds based on all the previous remarks made, which is good for you guys. But I will use my time to answer 4 quick questions in 5 brief minutes. I want to start by thanking the government of Dominica for their incredible boldness and decisiveness that has us at this point today. Fortune favors the brave. And when they first approached us about a year and a half ago, they had one question: what if? What if Dominica could undertake a parallel path as Trinidad and Tobago had started around the same time through the New Gen Hydrogen project and explore their own green hydrogen potential? For those of you who don't know, Kenesjay Green we're a private sector, indigenous company to Trinidad and Tobago committed to the Caribbean in developing a pipeline of green decarbonizing projects for the region. It started with New Gen and is continuing with Dominica. After they asked that what if question, we worked with them for the next few months doing a country assessment report for Dominica, and our result was, why not? There are so many significant upsides to Dominica, both for its economy and its people. For the first time, to be able to meaningfully look at this remarkable renewable energy potential that they have been sitting on for decades and harness it for the benefit of their people and their economy, and let's not forget what's driving all of this, for the environment. So the next question was, well, why now? What's changed? Well, what's changed, as I just alluded to, is this growing reality of the immensity of the climate crisis that is upon us as a people and as a planet. Let's not forget that. That has driven this growing demand exponentially for green hydrogen and green ammonia to be considered as an alternate energy carrier of fossil-free basis. So for the first time in the Caribbean region, as has been said before, there's the very real potential for surplus, untapped green energy in countries such as Dominica to be considered as a potential supply for an existing green energy demand facing both the world and, more locally, Trinidad and Tobago, as Dr. Paltu referred to. As a region, this is what has fundamentally changed. This is why we're talking about this today. This regional energy green potential is not just constrained to Dominica, I hasten to add, and it's not also constrained to geothermal. Green hydrogen, green ammonia, green methanol, whether it's for Trinidad or for Thailand, is a real global game changer for any Caribbean country wondering how to create renewable energy projects to a sufficient scale that permits it to be economically viable and also have a supportive, large enough market. So I'm here to say that the renewable market potential, which many of you have been looking for, is now here, waiting to be explored, waiting to be de-risked, and waiting to be realized, and soon. This is what Dominica is taking the next step in today. This is talk. Over there in 5 minutes, that's action. So the final question is, what next? What does that signing really trigger? What does that represent? Well, in simple terms, today marks the day that transitions us from that initial phase of a government policy, Dominica's government policy, of setting targets and establishing the requisite public-private partnerships, such as the one announced here today, to the next phase of accelerated action through additional de-risking work that multilateral banks and other financing institutions are looking for and looking to for the funding in a structured construct such as the one announced today. This will then lead to the private sector investment phase, where green patient capital will have the confidence to further invest in this undertaking. And that is what will drive the construction and completion of the first industrial scale green hydrogen geothermal project in the Caribbean in Dominica. I will conclude by simply saying that we at Kenesjay Green Dominica Limited firmly believe that the Caribbean's infrastructure for energy, once successfully interconnected, can lead to one of the largest hubs for renewable energy and green hydrogen globally. We see the signing of this framework agreement as one step closer towards that vision, and we are pleased and honored to be part of this exciting public-private partnership with the government of Dominica. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
All right, and the final set of remarks, and Philip talked about the fact that they're a private sector company, and private sector, they chase opportunity. That's just how private sector is structured. But in order for a government to make a bold move like this requires vision. And so I introduce you to, for his remarks, the visionary, Honorable Dr. Irving McIntyre, Minister of Finance, Economic Development, Climate Resilience, and Social Security. Honorable Minister, joining us online.
Good afternoon, all. Let me first recognize the Attorney General, Honorable Levi Peter, Managing Director of the Dominica Geothermal Development Company, Mr. Fred John, the CEO of Kenesjay Green Limited, Mr. Julian, Ambassador Honorable Francine Barron, Excellencies and Ministers of Government, Mr. Michael Savre, GCF, National Focal Point, and other delegates. A pleasant good afternoon to all of you listening. The signing of this framework agreement is a momentous occasion for the people and government of the Commonwealth of Dominica. This agreement is one of the primary pillars of our Green Industrial Development Program and our transition to a low carbon economy. We are confident that this transformation will advance economic, national well-being, while at the same time contributing significantly to the national goal articulated by our Prime Minister in making Dominica the first climate resilient nation in the world. The realization of this program has the potential for Dominica's integration into a regional and international green energy value chain, realizing the supply of green energy commodities to the region and other parts of the world where such demand exists. Dominica, a country with one of the largest geothermal resources in the Caribbean, has the potential to develop a globally competitive green hydrogen industry. This signing today now unlocks the pathway towards further development that is expected to lead to a bankable value proposition for Dominica, allowing for the leveraging of its geothermal power to develop a scalable green hydrogen industry. This new phase in our geothermal development is building upon the experiences gained by Dominica's Geothermal Development Company via its work in the development the Rosa Valley geothermal field resource. The government of the Commonwealth of Dominica hereby expresses thanks to Kenesjay Green Limited and the people and government of Trinidad and Tobago for collaborating with Dominica in this bold and imaginative enterprise. We are small nations with big ambitions. Trinidad and Tobago has laid such foundations before. Despite its size, by having one of the most significant fossil fuel hydrogen and ammonia industrial infrastructures in the Americas. Now, our collective enterprise allows for the process of this infrastructure to the utilization of a feedstock of green energy commodities. We do anticipate challenges along this journey, but we are confident that with the collaboration of many partners gathered here today, we will achieve success. We therefore call upon those present far and wide, in particular multilateral, regional, and international financial institutions and other entities along the green energy commodities value chain to join us in this journey, a journey which will allow for the execution of positive climate action to address the collective existential threat posed to mankind by carbon emissions, and also one which will also transform the lives of citizens of Dominica, Trinidad and Tobago, and the wider Caribbean region. I thank you.
Okay. All right. So now, please join us with your eyes over at the signing table. Shall we? The framework agreement will be signed both here in this room and virtually in Dominica. All right. I'm going to ask Philip Julian of KGL to sign the agreement. And Francine Barron is going to witness. I'll then ask Honorable Mr. Levi Peter, Honorable Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Dominica, to sign. He's going to do that virtually. I then ask Mr. Fred John, the CEO of Dominica Geothermal Development Company, to sign. All right, and now, the moment, I'll ask both the Honorable Minister and Mr. Julian to simultaneously hold up the countersigned documents. We have an agreement. This is the action. And I will close by saying this. You will all remember this moment, the moment that you were here when we had one of the major milestones in the development of the region's hydrogen economy. I know this seems like just the signing of a document, but it is in fact a major move towards, as Philip said, the action that we need to take place. It requires boldness and it requires vision, and we were all in the room when this step took place. Thank you so much for joining us. Should we ask the Honorable Minister? Honorable Minister, can you hold up the agreement again? We want to just take another picture. Yes?
I think we should have a witness now.
Thank you.
You can see.
Yes, it was, wow. All right, good stuff. Thank you. All right. Okay.
Thank you, Minister.